Following James Charles' most recent apology where he admitted to sending illegal photos and messages to boys under the legal age, Morphe has finally decided to cut ties, but many are saying it's too little too late. Also, experts have now unpacked the recent James Charles situation and gave shocking insight into his actions. And I got all that coming up for you right now on I.O., but first make sure to subscribe if you're new here. So late Friday night, James Charles and Morphe both posted to Twitter explaining that Morphe would be ending their partnership with James and, quote, winding down the sales of his palette. In Morphe's post, they wrote, quote, in light of the recent allegations against James Charles, Morphe and James have agreed to end our business relationship and wind down sales of the Morphe x James Charles product offering. It is and has always been Morphe's goal to create a positive, safe, and empowering space where all beauty lovers can freely share their artistry and passion for cosmetics, and Morphe is committed to furthering that goal. I just have to point out it's very interesting that they use the word allegations in that statement when James actually has admitted to 2 instances of this inappropriate conduct, so it's not really allegations anymore, but anyway. James also posted a similar statement where he took the time to call out some accusers that have come forward after his latest apology video. In his long statement, he wrote, quote, accountability is something that I have spoken about a number of times in the past. In my recent video, I spoke about and took accountability for my part in conversations that I had with a few individuals who told me they were over the age of 18. As I said in that video, I can't change overnight, but will over time. Since posting that video, many other people have come forward with a series of misleading stories and false allegations, which have been reported on by many people, creators, and news outlets. My legal team has begun taking action against those that have spread misinformation and or created completely fake stories, as this has gone too far. These stories have caused many of my long-term partners to receive considerable negative feedback, one of them being Morphe. I've loved every moment working together, and I'm beyond grateful for what we've created together. That being said, I reached out to them and we mutually agreed to wind down our James Charles x Morphe collaboration, which is my only project with them. He finished off his statement saying, quote, I am continuing to take time away to learn, grow, and listen, and look forward to coming back one day in the future as a better version of myself. So what's very interesting about this statement is that it kind of seems like Morphe was fine sticking with James after he admitted to illegal conduct, but after more and more stories still came out after he addressed it, Morphe, I guess, decided that it's probably not a great idea to stick by someone with so many allegations at this point. Ethan Klein of H3, who's been calling out James from the start, responded back to his statement, clarifying that there has been 17 accusations against James at this point, 10 of which were not of legal age, and asking James to point out which of these allegations are lies. So obviously it's good that James has been held accountable by his biggest partner Morphe, but considering it took them so long to do anything, it seems very performative to me and many other people that have commented on the situation. In the replies of Morphe's tweet, there were many calling them out for taking so long to do anything, especially since they have dropped other influencers very quickly for far lesser actions. Like, we're talking about actually illegal behavior by James here. Now to get into what some experts have said about this whole situation. A lot of experts have pointed to one phrase that James said in his apology video, where James said, quote, it sucks and it's ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and it's that I'm desperate. And apparently excuses like this are common in these situations. Licensed marriage and family therapist Jason B. Whiting, PhD, said it's common to want to create an excuse for something like this that's perceived as so negative. With him telling Insider, quote, it almost doesn't matter what the reason is, as long as it makes the perpetrator feel better about themselves. One common version of an excuse is to blame the person who is making the accusation. Whiting continued that there is a psychological pattern known as DARVO, seen in many cases like this. The acronym stands for denial, attacking the accuser, and reversing the roles of accused and offender, with Whiting continuing that the offender will usually deny that it happened or deny knowing their age. Then if that doesn't work, they'll attack the accuser and claim that they were actually the ones being targeted by these false allegations. And this pattern was incredibly shocking to read about because these are exactly the things that James did after he was accused. He claimed that the accusers lied about their ages when there was proof that they were not of age right on their social media profiles, and then when that didn't work, James claimed that he was being targeted by clout chasers and tried to make himself the victim. Legal commentator and former LA District Attorney Emily D. Baker also commented on the situation, telling Insider that a defendant saying, quote, "I'm desperate," like James did, could be used to argue that they don't think what they were doing is wrong. With Baker continuing that even though that excuse might have worked on his young fans, as he's known to be unlucky in love, the comments could be used against him in a court of law. But at this point, it's unclear if any of the people involved are going to be pressing charges against James. So there's obviously a lot to unpack in that story, but let me know all your thoughts below. What do you think about Morphe dropping James, and how do you feel about how James has denied all the allegations many times and blamed the victims as well, even in his most recent statement on the matter? Let me know all your thoughts below. I'm ending this video here. Make sure to like and sub if you're new here and want to see more. Also, make sure to check us out on our social medias. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith, and I will catch you all in the next one.